Today, you are going to be in the first of that two-part series. And just as a reminder, our December meeting will be December 5th. And that's really because we combine November and December together, and we try to put it as far away from both holidays as we can, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So between November and December, there's one meeting. So this is the first of those, and it's all about reinventing yourself. But you might have noticed from our social media posts that a lot of what you're seeing out there is talking about the messy middle and all of that. So I want to, before I turn it over to Carrie, I just want to say the feedback that you're giving us, and I received text messages and emails and notes in the chat and everything else. The feedback that you're giving us about these meetings is that these are conversations that are not happening anywhere else in our industry. And I'll tell you, that's very intentional. We are very grassroots and we're very vulnerable and we really put it out there. So, in advance, I want to thank all three of these women for their vulnerability to be able to get in here and sort of talk about feeling like they're in a reactive mode instead of a proactive mode, but really how to get ourselves there. So, without anything further, I want to turn it over to someone I admire so much, Carrie Santiago.
Thank you, Julie. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be back here again. As Julie mentioned, this is part one of our two-part career pathing series. We have two very special ladies with us today who I've had the opportunity to get to know over the past couple of years. I will ask them to share a little bit more about themselves, but our first panelist will be Phaedra Ruffalo. She's a food futurist, marketing strategist, and innovation executive. She has 20 plus years shaping the future of food across food service, retail, and ingredients. And we also have Aneta Mandarino, a recent addition to our FWA team. She's a learning and development executive strategic change agent, a visionary leader with 23 plus years of experience across hospitality, supply chain, and procurement. So as we get rolling, one thing I would ask is when you hear the word reinvention, what does it mean to you? We're going to have an interactive panel discussion today. They're going to be vulnerable with sharing their personal journeys. They have two different walks of life, but they both overcame barriers and breakthroughs. And we hope that at the end of the session today, you'll be able to walk away with some tools and mindsets as you navigate the middle of change and step into a new version of yourself. So with that, Phaedra, will you be so kind to share a little bit more about your background?
Sure, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. And for those of you who know me, I'm not shy to talk about what's going on in life, right? It just, we have to talk about it because we're all in this together. So as Carrie mentioned, I'm a marketing and innovation leader, helping build a career in helping food brands reinvent themselves. And from startups to global names like Hain Celestial, Mars, the American Egg Board. My work centers on insight with action and finding new ways for brands, teams, and people to grow with purpose. But really, where it all starts with my reinvention is and much earlier. I was raised by a single mom, and she is disabled. She's still with us. When I was 8, she got addicted to Percocets, and when I was 18, I was able to help her and get her into rehab. You know, during that time frame, though, growing up, I navigated uncertainty, had to take on a lot of responsibility, and believe in change is possible, even when it's hard. So, you know, those types of moments really help shape how I approach life and leadership with empathy, grit, and hope. And I've had opportunities where I've had to make changes at work. Some I made the changes and some I didn't. But you had to take a pause and regroup and find your tribe to help you through it. Most recently, in the last 4 years, I have been taken on a role of more of a elder care issues for both parents in two different states. It hasn't been easy. And there's been a lot of surgeries, a lot of challenges. Most recently, as of last week, I had to evict some family members from my father's home that was taking advantage of him. And they were also using drugs and dealing drugs. So it never stops, right? So what I can say is that get the foundation of practicing courage, compassion, and choosing to keep moving forward. That's really what reinvention is, because you need to find your tribe and just keep going. And as Carrie and I were talking, you got to have a sense of humor because you got to get through it each day. So that's it. We'll have more to talk about. So Aneta, on to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Aneta Mandarino. I've been working for Avendra for the last 15 years. It's a purchasing company for hospitality. I am actually a very first generation Polish American immigrant in living in California. So what I bring to the table is a lot of background from different country where I had to break many different barriers, whether this was a language barrier, cultural barrier, working environment barrier. There's so many barriers in our lives. But what I look at this is actually an opportunity where, you know, in the moment, it might be very difficult to see, like, why am I going through this? It's actually a lesson that's going to come out of it. And my quick story here, as I mentioned, I came all the way from Poland by myself. So me coming to America, like Eddie Murphy, I started from the very bottom, you know, cleaning rooms and hospitality, just learning as much as I could. And my experience here in the United States is actually many different lessons that I now get to see the value of those lessons. Those were the challenges in the moment. But I never gave up. I actually never wanted to give up because I came from another country. I know what America has to offer for many immigrants, many people that are coming in for a better life. And every day I am doing better, helping others, because I know it's really difficult to be in a new environment, new country, new rules and regulations. I mean, we are supposed to help one another because we all have many different talents. We just need to find them. And when we anchor ourselves on the talent that we have, we can grow every single time and elevate others as well. So I am very grateful for this opportunity to talk about challenges and how we, bam, break them. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story today and connect with all of you. Of course, I will be connecting with you on LinkedIn as well, so we can stay in touch and we can work on this breaking barrier and reinventing ourselves topic together.
Well, thank you both for those introductions. The one thing that always resonates and stands out with both of you is just your positive outlook. And as Phaedra alluded to, who knows what someone is going through in their personal life. And my experience with both of you, I've never seen you not with a smile on your face. So despite any kind of challenge or barriers that are going on behind the scenes, you always show up for yourselves. And not only that, you give back to others. So when we started thinking about this panel, who would be great, like you were literally our first two picks. So we're so excited that you said yes. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we're going to start with diving a little deeper on barriers and breakthroughs. Aneta, I'll ask you first. What was one of the biggest barriers you faced when reinventing yourself?
That is a very good question. I mean, there's so many barriers that we face every day, but it's just a word. So what it is a challenge where we're uncomfortable, where we have to take some action. We have to do some things to move things around, or if we cannot break the barrier, we go around it. One of the things I like to share, I believe that, you know, we live on this earth and it's kind of like a game. We all, you know, start at level one. We're supposed to go through different experiences. We're meeting new people. We're collecting lessons along the way, and the goal is to survive, gain experience, and grow, and squeeze that wisdom out of that experience. So challenges are always going to be there. They're never going to go away. So when we build our core and we know who we are, what we represent, what our values are, we can stay strong, we can face them. And even if that barrier is, like, oh my God, how I'm going to go through all of that. It's difficult in the moment, but never ever give up. So one of the breakthroughs in my own life was me coming to America at the age of 22 by myself. I wanted to start a better life for myself. My mom gave me $50 for my brand new beginning. And then I started working in Sequoia National Park, where, I never had to clean my own house because I was, living with the parents. So that breakthrough, me coming to America, was actually facing everything that's new, moving from teenagehood to my, let's say, young adult in the big world. So that's one of those big breakthroughs for me. And another pivotal moment that I had in my life, if you remember March 2020, this is a time we will never forget. So we have the pandemic hit. I am panicking and buying in Costco, food, because I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. After that, I get furloughed. Because I never been unemployed in this country, they could never verify my identity. So go figure. So it was such a pivotal moment for me then that I decided this is the last time I'm going to be in this powerless mode, that some external experience is going to influence how I'm going to, move forward. So that moment did not break me. I said, God, please help me. I will never feel like this again. And I'll never give up on myself. I'll make it to the top. And that decision led me to my 5-year transformation. And what I'm going to say, as Eminem said one time, look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it? I'm going to go get it. Go ahead, Phaedra.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Always good to add an M wherever you can. I totally concur. I also like listening to Hamilton the musical, and so I listen to that too. That one shot kind of thing still goes through, resonates. So yeah, I just want to add on to that a little bit. I had a boss years ago when I was starting off, and he said, if you ever bring a problem to me, come with 3 solutions. And that's just a great way to always go about if you have a barrier, because that way it's just like, okay, this is happening. What could there possibly be? Rather than getting yourself spun out in just the barrier. At a younger age, I would see people, because they were on drugs, spinning out, anxious and everything. And so I learned at an early age to be like, okay, time out. What can we do now? What do we have control of now? And then we go and build out. I think that's how, I'm a marketing strategist and innovator. So I was taught to think like that, or like, okay, what kind of problems can we solve? And that's why I'm great at what I do. But, I was trained in that because I grew up with a bunch of cuckoos. So, hey, I had to calm them down. But that is a barrier that, if you can find a way to take a moment, take a breath, and just say, okay, got this. There's an issue. What are some possibilities? And then that can calm down your nervous system, because you don't want to spin out. Spinning out is the wrong thing to do, right? You just want to get yourself leveled and then clear on, and move forward. So that's how I start with the biggest barriers. Definitely.
Well, the first word that pops into my mind, and I'm sure others may agree, the word resilience. I mean, the things that you've had to overcome, the challenges that you faced, and how you moved forward despite any challenges that that came your way. And I also have to agree with Annette. Anytime we can talk about Eminem, I remember being terrified to give a presentation, and for some reason, like Eminem lyrics were playing in my head, and it gave me confidence. So, shout out to Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phaedra, were there specific systems or mindsets that helped you push through challenging times?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm sure you all heard the phrase "fake it till you make it." I was using that phrase for a while, and then I realized that's not the right phrase. It's you got to have some foundation. You got to have some understanding. So you try and you ask questions and you listen. We've got one mouth and two ears. You got to listen. So, when I hear people say fake it till you make it, I'm like, really? It's like, no, you really do want to learn, right? And because if you do, let's do it together. And that's how I've been able to change my mindset and help other people, like, just say, okay, well, if we don't understand it, let's go online to figure it out, or let's find somebody who does know, or do you know someone in this network that maybe can help us here, or get involved with other networks so you can learn about it. It takes a little time, but it's going to help you in the long run. So that's the mindset of continuous learning is my mindset.
I think it goes into authenticity as well. I think anytime anyone's being fake about anything, not only do we not feel like our authentic selves, but it's probably translating to whoever we're trying to fool, for lack of a better word. So love
Yeah.
that.
Phaedra,
And then, do you have
yes,
anything to
I
add?
used that phrase back in the day, fake it till you make it. I'm like, oh my God, this is cool. And then I'm like, nah. So for me, I had to break a lot of different mindsets. I mean, like being scared of being shy. So first things first, I mean, at the very, very beginning of my long learning journey and, reinvention journey, for many, many years, I was kind of stuck in a place, paralyzed, where I could not move forward because I didn't know how. So, we blame others for our whatever is happening in our life. Then we make excuses. Then, we shove it under the rug so nothing is happening. So it was really difficult to move forward. I had to break my old mindset, how I was viewing the world, and kind of build it from the bottom to the top again and lay brick by brick to kind of help me out. So guess what? First things first, I started with employee assistance program and I got a therapist. So that person was supporting me mentally and emotionally because I didn't know I needed that support. I was like, I'm going to do myself. I'm strong. I can do it. That's my that's my thing. But on the mental level, I got that support, and then I can break down stuff that was so overwhelming. I had so many issues like I had to go through, whether was like a personal issue, issues at work, health issues, family issues. Oh my God, I mean, you name it. So that first step, I decided to go get help, and I was sharing my story with that therapist, and she kind of led me through many different stages, what I wanted to do, how to approach it, how to break down the scary ghost in the closet and actually clean up my closet of all the issues that I had, just like with Eminem say, right? So with that, I started believing in myself, where previously I was looking for external validation, praise, or the time for somebody to notice me. So that time when I just decided, you know what, I have something to offer. I am valuable. I am enough. I have something great that I could share with others. That gave me the wings. And I literally, last 5 years, I was just working on myself. So I quit drinking alcohol because I thought I can cope with all my issues. Like, oh no, it's not going to be the best coping mechanism. I started going to the gym. I always loved the gym. I also got a dog that helped me go through many different challenges throughout the pandemic. And then literally, I was just focusing on one specific topic and I was reworking it. So, how can I get better? How can I get myself to the next thing that I need to heal? Because we all have to heal many different things. And then I actually let go of drama. So I stay away from drama. I am focusing on my own growth. And guess what? I am my own biggest supporter. I am my own cheerleader and I am my biggest investor. So that mindset that I have today, I want to share with you how I actually broke through all of those challenges and barriers and that old mindset that I had and built a brand new one for myself.
I love that. I mean, it's extremely brave, one being an independent person and then asking for help. I think a lot of times we just try and deal with things and then it just continues getting bigger and becoming more overwhelming. I just love all that advice that you gave. And, sometimes we just need to reach out and ask for some help, and there's absolutely no shame in that.
Thank you.
So, Phaedra, I'll pass it over to you. And I alluded to this in the beginning. You always have just such a positive outlook, and no matter what may be going on in your life at any point in time, how do you maintain your motivation when there's uncertain times? And I think I said to Julie at the beginning, we all have our stuff, right? Like we are all going through who knows what behind the scenes, but how do you stay motivated?
Yeah, I years ago I was at a company and our president was talking about gratitude. There was a book that was out on talking about how to take time and and state what you're grateful for. And so in this book, it was talking about every night before you go to bed, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And at that time, I was just like, oh, that doesn't really work, and stuff like that. But I over the years, I've started meditating much more and taking in practices where I do take a moment literally every hour. When I see the hour changes, I give myself a moment, a minute to just be grateful of everything going on. And that fills me up. Or just taking a walk or seeing a flower or, petting my dog. I take those small moments and that really helps me get through. And I got to tell you, like 4 years ago, when I decided to put my career on hold to help out my parents, it wasn't easy. I was angry. I was not happy. I was spinning out. I was mad, um, depressed. And there were times where I was whining, and I don't like to whine, but I was. And I at least reached out to some of my friends and they helped me snap out of it. I didn't go to a therapist. I do believe in therapy. But I'm a part of a group called Mind Valley. That's this amazing um meditation group. And I just got into a lot of like courses there through meditation and just, practices, as well as getting involved in new courses to open my mind up on how to have new strategies to get through and continue growing. And then also to improve my communication with my parents as well, because this situation was difficult and some of them didn't want surgery when they needed it. And so, at least I had support from the medical staff and I reached out to them like, I need help. And that's that. And they're like, okay. As I like to say, I'm pleasantly persistent. I wouldn't go away. And they would help me. So but it just meditation definitely has helped me tremendously. And you got to take a moment to take a breath every hour because it's amazing. We can be online and I mean, even our eyes just being online all day, we don't blink enough. And so we literally have to take moments to blink our eyes, get the moisture in our eyes back, get the breath in our lungs, and get that oxygen to our head to ground ourselves. So that's what I do. And, when it comes to, 2 o'clock, I'm taking a moment. So there you go.
Thank you, Phaedra. I think those are all great reminders, and we just have to keep trying different things and see what we can stick with and what kind of helps to rewire our brains to be a little bit more positive because it's so easy to lose perspective. Aneta, anything to add related to how you stay motivated?
Absolutely. So for me, it's super easy because I have this one focus in my mind. So for those of you who are coming from other countries or maybe have families that came from, overseas, when you're this first generation, you have so much responsibility on your shoulders because you can't really count on anybody to give you anything. So I love working. Yes, I do. I do love working. Sometimes I work too much, but I have this internal responsibility where I want to build generational wealth. So this is not just for me. This is also helping others that came to this country without any support, without, let's say, family, and are trying to make it. Because yes, we can fake it till you make it, but why not take the steps to actually make it happen? So my kind of like the best practices this week, for example, I'll just give you a personal story. I was in San Diego earlier this week, and I was doing a business review with the client. The meeting went well, and then I'm on my way to see another client. And as I leave the hotel, I am stopping the red light, and there's this guy just bumped into me from the back, and I like, woohoo! Got in a minor car accident. So we were talking that day with Phaedra. What are we grateful for? That gratitude really helps along the way. I was, just, a small whiplash that happened. It was a 5-second thing. I was scared, but nothing happened. I only have a bumper damage. So I was so grateful. I'm like, thank you, God. I made it. I can still go to another meeting. And then the time when I drove back home to Aliso, I hugged my family very tightly. I hugged my doggies, and I'm like, God, thank you for saving me. It could have been so much worse. I am so lucky. I only got a bumper damage. So that gratitude helps me so much every day when I wake up. The very first thing that I do, I meditate, and I have on YouTube there is a gratitude channel. So I repeat my affirmations. I thank for my health. I thank for my life. I have a roof above my head, because back in the day there was a time where I was homeless in this country. So I understand that having a small cup of coffee in my house is actually abundance. I can do my laundry while I'm doing emails. That is also abundance. I am here to kind of share my story today. That is also abundance and gratitude. So I lead from the heart. I love gratitude affirmations in the morning. I also do meditation just like Phaedra. I do a little bit of different healing. I also do Reiki. I do sound bath healing. So I'm taking many different approaches to ensure that I pour into myself first. So when I see you, when I see clients, when I have my friends over, I can share that abundance, that love, that kindness, because kindness is actually a strength. It's not a weakness. Just because I am kind to everybody that I meet, even though they don't repay the same way, I'm still going to be kind to all those people, because that is actually what comes back to me. So people who do not appreciate the kindness or say it's a weakness, I'm sorry, I have to tell you, you're incorrect. So
Exactly.
that mindset helps me. And I just want to say thank you for all the love, for all the team members that are on this call. Thank you for your support. And I really appreciate this opportunity to share my story and hopefully empower you and motivate you to never, ever give up and always invest in yourself, because you're the most important person in your life. And if you can find that love for yourself, you're going to receive that love from others as well.
Amazing. I'm kind of speechless, but thank you so much for sharing all of those tips. And if there's any
My pleasure.
meditations or any tips that people want to add into the chat, any links that we can take away, the best way we learn is from each other. And there might be something that has positively impacted someone. You feel like you want to pay that forward in some way, definitely just provide that in the chat. And I think we get a recap, or Julie gets a recap, and we can look through that. Okay, so moving on. So those were all the tools and mindsets. Great advice. And now we're going to dive into navigating what we're calling the messy middle. So, Phaedra, I'll pass it back to you. What advice do you have for those who might be in that so-called messy middle?
Yeah. You got to take pause and really kind of take a moment and look at the bigger picture of where it could end up, right? So look at the long-term opportunity here. So if you have a situation, like I just had a situation with my family on getting rid of my cousin, and wasn't easy, and my dad, he has cognition issues and stuff, so I had to do this with as much grace as possible, but also firmly. And so it's like, okay, I can go a route of just being crazy and pushing her out, or I can do it with grace and where she's not totally broken apart, because she's a fragile human being too. She has a lot of issues. So, I thought through that, and you have to take a moment and really think through your strategy of what is the best route that's not only going to be good overall, but what's going to make you feel whole in the end. Because I've taken some routes where I went too hard and I was too aggressive, and actually it took up too much energy on my part, and it was negative and I felt bad about it. Even though I got the end result, it just left bad taste in the mouth. And so it's like, I want to make sure that whatever I do, it's giving everyone an opportunity to grow, and it's a better situation for everyone. So my cousin and I are still in speaking terms, and I'm still offering her help if she wants it, but I'm not going to go after her for it if she doesn't want it. But you got to take pause. And again, back to that, is like, you also have to make sure you taking care of yourself first, because that's a lot of energy putting out there. And if you need a moment where you're like, okay, I need pause. I was talking to a coach the other day, and he was like, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I just want to take a nap. That's all I want to do right now. I'm tired. And he's like, then take a nap. Right? Sometimes you just have to recharge yourself in whatever way that's needed. Taking a nap, sleeping all day, binge watching something to refuel yourself so you can get back on track and you can go and move forward with grace as much as possible. That's what I try and focus on when there is a messy middle as possible. So
I think we talked the other day about protecting your peace. So there's people who are always tugging at you. You want to do everything and be everything for everyone, but we have to first and foremost protect our peace, even though sometimes that seems impossible. Aneta, anything to add?
Yes, of course. Phaedra, I like how you actually went through your messy middle and pause and take a break. I actually find this very helpful myself. So there are times in my life where I'm really pushing, trying to get to this next thing that I put myself there, whatever. This is a goal, or maybe I have a goal to get maybe a little bit healthier. So I do the best that I can with what I have. And back in the day, it was all or nothing, but that approach doesn't really work. So, like Phaedra said, I take breaks. I go see my family. I go on vacation. I take my doggies for a walk. Boy, oh boy, I'll maybe cook something, but then my husband's not going to eat it because it's Polish and he doesn't like it, whatever. So, all of that, you just live your life. Don't be afraid to step away from things, have a perspective, see like, okay, what am I doing? What's going right? What's going wrong? Do I want to, maybe pivot? Is there something I need help with? Because a lot of times, just talking to a good soul, a friend, a coworker, somebody that that you can just maybe get a different perspective, because sometimes we're so close to this problem that we're there. This messy middle reminds me of my laundry next room, where I have a pile of laundry, and then I have to go through that messy middle. So what I'm going to compare this to is actually going and maybe putting things, grouping them together. So, if you're trying to take care of your family, focus on that first. Once you have that taken care of, then you can think about what's next. So there's many different priorities that we all have in life. Currently, I am going through some health issues. So this is my main focus right now. I want to make sure I get rid of the stuff that is not working in my life. This is going to take change. This is going to take work. Guess what? I'm not afraid of working. I am going to do it. But what helps me is actually not putting so much pressure on myself. If I don't make it perfect, I failed. I do the best I can with what I have today, and tomorrow I'm going to do it again. So it's literally day by day things we do in our lives, and giving ourselves grace, rest if needed, proper nutrition, and then making sure we make time for ourselves. So whatever we like doing, whether this is gardening, cooking, cleaning, not so much. So, give yourself some grace, pause, go get yourself, I don't know, a new jacket or a dress, or maybe new lipstick, or maybe go get a massage, or treat yourself to lunch, or maybe go for a cup of coffee. Don't
Or
put too
dark
much pressure on
chocolate.
yourself. Yes, or get that chocolate because I'm a
Chocolate. I did
chocoholic.
that on Sunday. I got some really good chocolate.
Yes.
So
Well, I just want to
thank you.
thank both of you for sharing so much valuable information and a peek into your lives and your journey. I think it's been extremely impactful. I'm sure everyone else who is on the call would agree. Just a few takeaways. So today we learned reinvention is an ongoing process. It's not a single event. Every challenge can be a doorway to growth. Having curiosity, self-compassion, and courage are the foundations for transformation. And really, the messy middle is where growth happens. I'm going to pass it back over to Julie. And then, if you would like to stay on after Julie's closing remarks, Aneta and Phaedra, I'm sure, will be happy to answer any questions that the group may have. So, Julie, with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. I'm sitting over here a little bit misty and speechless. So forgive me here. This is so powerful to be able to hear from real women, their real experiences, and the places where wouldn't we all like to just sort of pretend like we've got it all together all the time? And I think there is a little bit of grooming that goes on in our industry where there's a level of expectation from us to just sort of always appear cheerful and ready for anything and able to navigate everything. So this is so powerful for me personally, such a great reminder. And I did see a few people wiping their eyes during this session, so I know you've hit home with it. So just a couple of things really quickly that I want to cover. One, wow, there is so much coming down the pike for Foodservice Women's Alliance. It is wonderful to see all your faces here today and how many of you are engaged in a really meaningful way in our community. I had somebody email me last time after our session, and they said, this feels like my own personal pep rally. And I love that terminology. I'm going to be using it somewhere and everywhere. So, also, and I'm just going to check real quick and see. Okay, so Karima Goodwin is the ambassador, board ambassador for this professional development committee, and it's her birthday today. So the kind of love that you showed Crystal in the chat, please give Karima that love. She's in the car and phoned in, and she's on her way somewhere wonderful, I'm sure, for her birthday. But Karima, so grateful for you and happy birthday. So back on track to really, this is a massively huge ask that I'm about to talk to you about. And when we started Foodservice Women's Alliance, we were so focused on making sure we were bringing the right resources forward for women in our industry and being sure that we support and also don't get a scarcity mindset in any way about any of the other organizations out there providing wonderful services for women, like Women's Food Service Forum, like Next Up. Those are all organizations that we're sort of locked at the elbows in this, doing it together. Where we can kind of set a little bit of a different tone is that since we don't take sponsors, we have the opportunity to talk to the broader industry in a little bit different way. Because we're not asking for something. And while I love those organizations, both of them, and they need to be able to have sponsors to do the things that they do, it allows us to have a little bit different conversation. So I'm going to share my screen for just a minute and share with you an email that you should have gotten this morning. I hope you can see that. I mean, my background changes every day, so I love this background. I have no idea where it came from, but I'm down. Wherever it came from, I love it. So I learn new places and feel like I get to go new places. But this is the email that should have landed in your inbox. And so I want to kind of come back to this idea and the resources that we provide for women that are part of Foodservice Women's Alliance. We can provide all of those incredible resources and connect you to other organizations where you can get resources. But if you don't land in an industry that is focused on driving equity, equality, and inclusion, then you're going to fall flat. You're not going to reach your highest potential. So on behalf of you, on behalf of our members, we are putting together an industry-wide webinar. So here comes my ask from you. We would love for you to be there. Please show up, but we'd also really love for you to click on this invitation. First off, register. Second, click on the invitation, and what you'll see pop up is you'll see this literally, you don't even have to come up with the words. It's literally tells you what it is about, and it is an invitation to attend. So who are we looking for? Who are we looking for you to invite? We're looking for people who maybe see themselves as allies, who maybe believe that when we talk about leadership dynamics needing to change, that we're not talking about them because they're already there. We all know those men and women in our lives who think they're high EQ leaders. So our moderator will be Hannah Lopez. She's on our call today. We will have Kelly Primus. Kelly is our resident expert and our partner from Leading Now in learning and development. And she actually is in the business of bringing companies along in this space. She's very committed as a Foodservice Women's Alliance partner. We'll also have Sho Shifey, who is the CEO of DSA Signage. She will be there, and wow, her experience is so relevant to this topic. And I will also be a panelist. So what I'd love for you to do on our behalf is to really help us drive our social engagement here, help us get the word out, and send that invitation out to people that you know will be receptive to this message. Because guess what? Their awareness is the number one thing we need to crack the code on. They're willing already, but they're not aware of things they're saying and doing, things they're saying during a performance review, things they're doing. And I'll tell you, we're going to turn the tools loose on them. We're going to give them all the tools. We're not going to beat them in the head with a hammer. We're going to invite them to be part of this change that they really want to be a part of. So with that, we are right at time. I want to thank you all for being here today. And anyone that would like to stick around, say a few words, or have any questions for our illustrious panel today, be happy to have you stick around. Thank you again for being here.